Late adulthood is defined as the period from the time we turn 65 till we pass away. The longest developmental stage in the lifespan is this one. Good morning, everyone. In our report, we will try to explain and examine ageism as well as a few theories about late adulthood and the associated physical, cognitive, and socio-emotional changes. Let's go to the introduction of the physical development sa late adulthood. When we hear the term physical development, ano ang pumapasok sa isip natin? Di ba typically alludes to the development and fine-tuning of humans' motor skills, or in other words, yung capacity to utilize and control our bodies. Now, one of the numerous areas of newborn and toddler development is physical development. Ngayon naman, paano naman sa elders kung nakikita natin sa mga bata, yung pagbilis ng kanilang takbo, pagtangkad nila, pagganda ng mga kanilang pagtubo ng mga ngipin, pagtubo ng mga buhok. Ngayon, paano naman sa elders? Now, how about when it comes to the elders who are in the late adult period? So, in contrast sila sa newborn stage. Kasi yung sa newborn stage, yung abilities start to improve or slope. Ngayon naman, sa stage na to, nagde-decline. And makikita mo yung sluggishness sa elders, which is very evident naman in terms of their physical, makikita mo yan sa balat, tapos sa mental domains nila, at yung mga ibang aspeto na mag-discuss mamaya. Ngayon, punta tayo sa aging's physical changes. Since its inception in 1958, may 1,400 participants sa Baltimore longitudinal study on aging. Ngayon, merong 1,400 participants na nag-participate dun sa isang study about sa aging. Ngayon, the aging process differs greatly from person to person and from one organ system to another. According to BLSA or Baltimore Longitudinal Study on Aging researchers, however, a few significant generalizations can be made, such as heart muscles thicken with age, arteries becomes less flexible, lung capacity diminishes, di ba? Mabilis hingalin, kidneys become less efficient in removing waste from the blood, so kaya rampant yung mga sakit sa bato sa mga matatanda, tsaka yung mga iba pang sakit like bladder loses its ability to store urine. Brain cells also lose some functioning, but new neurons can also be produced. Pero talagang nagkakaroon na talaga ng loss sa brain cells natin. Kaya dun sa mga matatanda, minsan or kadalasan, most of them talaga is pumupurol na yung kanilang knowledge or memory thinking. Ngayon, ano kaya sa tingin natin ang nagpapabago sa kanila? O yung nagpapabilis sa kanilang aging, or nagpapabagal sa aging, ba't ganito, ba't magkaiba sila, yung isa ganito, ba't yung isa ganyan? Mainly, yun yung heredity talaga, sa heredity. And next is yung lifestyle. Kung nasa tapos yung also kung lifestyle, kung paano ka ba kumain, paano ka nag-exercise ka ba, or paano ba yung habit mo, yung routine mo sa buhay. Magkaka-apekto talaga yun sa shape, sa physical appearance and mental appearance ng isang pag dumating na siya sa late adulthood. And also, kung may history siya sa mga illness. Ngayon, late adult changes also include the following. So, makikita natin yung mga pagbabago sa mga matatanda kung makikita natin tong mga nasa following. Body alterations. As people age, their bodies naturally alter shape. So, makikita mo yan kung yung medyo saggy na, yung skin, tapos medyo yung mga buto, medyo kumukuba na, ganun. Nag-iba na yung form, posture. Makikita mo yan sa body alterations ang tawag dyan. Sabi dito, as people age, their bodies naturally alter shape. After the age of 30, humans have tendency to lose lean tissue and body parts like cells, liver, kidneys, and other organs. Ngayon, according sa National Library of Medicine, Nangyayari talaga yun at scientifically proven at na-research yun na ganun talaga ang natural na process ng aging. Body water content decreases also. So nakikita natin yung dryness sa skin, yung mga tissue loss sa bones. Kaya di ba meron yung mga kumbaga advertisement sa milk unlean. Yun, yung para daw hindi naman ma-prevent pero parang ma-sustain o ma-support kahit pa paano yung bones ng mga matatanda. Meron din dito yung hair, nail changes, yung pagkakaroon ng kumbaga hindi na siya ganun ka-fresh or ka-smooth dahil nga sa loss ng mga muscle tissue or what we call sarcopenia. Also, meron rin yung mga height and weight changes. Height, yung posture, medyo yumuyuko na, and also weight, mas tumitimbang sila. Due na rin to sa mga kumbaga less activities na nangyayari kapag matanda na. And then also, meron yung mga sensory changes na di-discuss mamaya. Ngayon, maraming notion, myriads of notion na na-theorize ng mga sikat na psychologist, such as yung kay Erikson, yung 8 stage niya na integrity versus despair. Ito yung kumbaga may conflict sa contentment and the fulfillment. Also, kung kasiya-siya ba yung mga nangyari sa buhay nila or ka-regret. So, kumbaga, dito sa stage na to, nagkakaroon sila ng discernment or reflection sa buhay nila kung dapat o kung kasaya-saya nga ang kanilang mga nagawa sa buhay. At meron din yung Erikson's 9th stage na ginawa nila mag-asawa. So, nung namatay si Erikson, na-publish ito at dito pumapasok ang salitang gerotranscendence, a term coined by gerontologist Lars Tornstam. It is to represent a greater awareness. Ito yung stage na magkakaroon ng awareness sa isang buhay, one's life, and connection to the universe, increased ties to the past, and a positive transcendent perspectives about life. Meron din dito yung theory na activity theory na na-develop ni Havighurst and Albert noong 1953. Also, disengagement theory na na-develop ni Cumming and Henry noong 1950s. And also, continuity theory. Now that we've gone further into the topic, let's try to increase your interest in the report by discussing about it in somewhat detail.
Good day everyone! I will now discuss the physical changes that we experience during the late adulthood stage. First one, wrinkles and age spots are the most noticeable changes during this stage. Older skin becomes paler, splotchier, and less elastic. Height change. We get shorter as we get older as the disc between the spinal vertebrae atrophy. So, sinasabi dito na habang tumatanda tayo ay lumiliit tayo. Next is thinning of the bone, causing a dowager's hump at the back of the neck, especially in women with osteoporosis. So, ang dowager's hump ay kilala rin bilang hyperkyphosis or kyphosis. It is an excessive curvature of the spine or ito yung pagkuba, lalong-lalo na sa mga babae. Weight drops after we reach the age of 60. This likely occurs because we lose muscles, which also gives our body a sagging look. The upper arm becomes flabby and heavy, while the lower arm seems to shrink in diameter. The nails of the feet become thick, tough, and brittle. So, yung mga nails natin sa paa natin is nagiging makapal sila. So, parang napapansin nyo ba yung mga lola't lola nyo, ganon, yung mga kuko nila sa paa is hindi na yung gaya natin. Mas makapal na yung sa kanila at mas may mga damage na, ganon. Next is the legs become flabby veins, prominent especially around the ankles. Hands and feet become scrawny and veins begin to appear. So, habang mas tumatanda tayo is mas nagiging visible yung mga ugat natin sa kamay at paa. Hairs on the head turns white and becomes thinner, and body hair becomes sparser. So during the late adulthood, yung mga buhok natin is nagiging white na sila. Pansin nyo, yung mga lola at lolo natin is halos lahat na ng buhok nila is white at mas nagiging manipis na, hindi gaya sa atin na healthy pa, ganon. Next is depressed immune function, making older people more susceptible to respiratory function. So, habang tumatanda tayo is nagiging mahina yung immune system natin or yung mga immune functions natin. Kaya, mas nagiging prone tayo sa mga sakit. But during the late adulthood, the digestive system remains relatively efficient. Changes in the gastrointestinal tract may lead to increased constipation. The rhythm of the heart tends to become slower and more irregular. So, habang tumatanda tayo, yung rhythm or yung pagtibok ng puso natin is mas nagiging slow siya at irregular. There is a decline in the reserve capacity. Ang reserve capacity is ito yung backup capacity that helps body system function to their utmost limits in time of stress. The next physical change is bone mass diminishes, especially among women, leading to bone density disorders such as osteoporosis. So, habang tumatanda tayo, yung body mass natin is nababawasan na nagko-cause ng mga sakit, especially sa mga kababaihan na which is the osteoporosis. So, ang osteoporosis ay isang sakit sa buto kung saan ang mga buto ay nagiging mahina at marupok. And during this stage, muscles become weaker or mas humihina yung mga muscles natin. Drop in functioning of the kidneys and lungs, and mas humihina yung pag-function ng kidneys and lungs natin habang tumatanda tayo. Next one is regulation of body temperature is impaired, either too hot or too cold. So, habang tumatanda tayo is hindi na normal yung temperature na nafe-feel natin. Either sobrang malamig or sobrang mainit na yung nararamdaman natin during the late adulthood stage. And the last physical change is there is a decline in the amount of sleep needed in the quality of the sleep. So habang tumatanda tayo, is nababawasan yung oras ng pagtulog natin. Pansin nyo ba sa mga lolo at lolo natin is ang aga, minsan maaga silang matulog at sobrang aga rin nilang magising, like 6 hours, ganun na lang yung tulog nila. So, during this stage is nababawasan na yung oras ng pagtulog natin. So, all of the things that I have mentioned are the physical changes that we experience or we will experience during the late adulthood stage.
The brain may have lost up to 10% of its weight between ages 20 and 90. This weight loss has been attributed to a loss of neurons, also known as nerve cells, in the cerebral cortex. This is the part of the brain that handles most cognitive tasks. New studies suggest that there is shrinkage of neuronal size instead of loss of neurons. This is more common in men than in women. This is due to loss of connective tissue, axons, dendrites, and synapses. The shrinkage occurs most rapidly in the frontal cortex. This is an area of the brain important to memory and high-level cognitive functioning. There is gradual slowing of the central nervous system, which may affect both physical coordination and cognition. Lessons in white matter of axons, perhaps due to hypertension, can reduce cognitive performance.
Sensory changes. Individual differences in sensory and motor functioning increase with age. Some older people experience sharp declines, others find their abilities virtually unchanged. Visual and hearing problems can deprive the elderly of social relationship, and independence and motor impairments might limit everyday activities. New technologies to improve vision and hearing can help many older adults avoid sensory limitations.
Now, pupunta tayo sa vision. Dark adaptation is slower. Older individuals take longer to recover their vision when going from well-lighted room to semi-darkness. So, bakit kaya? Ngayon kasi, 'di ba, connected yung eye natin siguro at theory lang to na connected kasi yung eye natin sa brain natin. Then, yung memory kasi natin and yung response natin habang tumatanda tayo ay bumabagal. So, ngayon, na-apektuhan pa siguro yung yung visual natin, eye visual, sa ating katawan. Ni-apektuhan nito ang ating katawan, such as yung eye nga natin, yung visual. Like, mas yung adaptation reflexes natin para maka-adapt sa dark adaptation ay bumabagal dahil na rin sa pagtanda natin dun yun sa stage ng adulthood, late adulthood. Ngayon, color vision may decline with age in older adults as a result of the yellowing of the lens of the eye. Next, depth perception typically declines in late adulthood, making it difficult for older adult to determine how close, far away, or how high or low something is. Ngayon kasi yung lenses ng eye natin become less flexible and make it difficult to focus sa mga close objects na tinatawag tong presbyopia. Dahil nagsisimula ito sa nearly mga parang mid-40s or 50s, ganun. Nagsisimula yung parang naging less flexible na. So, but it's a part or natural, parang natural, normal lang sa pagtanda talaga. It's a part of aging talaga. So, ganun. Minsan, merong mga eye surgeries dito sa treatment na to. And yung iba, medyo tolerable pa naman. So, yun yung explanation sa parang kumbaga less flexible na ating lenses. Yung lenses kasi ng eye natin, yun yung kumbaga camera. Yung lens ng camera ay napaka-vital sa part ng cellphone dahil dito makikita kung gaano kalinaw ang pag-perceive dito sa isang bagay. So parang ganoon din sa mata ng tao, makikita kung depende sa lens ng eye natin. Sa mid-40s nga daw, di ba, parang nagbe-blurred na. Parang ganoon, less flexible na. So ngayon, how much more kung sa mga late adulthood na 65. So talagang normal lang na magkaroon ng ganitong condition na called presbyopia. Ngayon, punta naman tayo sa diseases of the eye. Ito yung mga generic, some of the generic diseases like yung cataracts, glaucoma, macular degeneration. So, ito ay kumbaga generic, tinawag ko siyang generic dahil napaka-common naman na yun. Tayo ay well enlightened naman sa mga ganito na mga diseases dahil papanood natin to sa mga teleserye at nababasa rin natin to sa mga dyaryo or something like sa mga feeds, social media, ganun, kung ano nga ba ito or bakit nga ba nagkaganito. And usually, kung hindi siya genetics, talagang part lang siya ng aging kung bakit nagkakaroon ng ganito.
Hearing loss may contribute to a false perception of older people as distractible, absent-minded, and irritable, and tends to have a negative impact on well-being. It has been established that 15% of population over the age of 65 is legally deaf. Due to the degeneration of cochlea, devices can be used to minimize the problems linked to the hearing loss in older adults. Hearing aids that amplify sound to reduce middle ear bass, conductive hearing loss, cochlear implants that restore some hearing following neurosensory hearing loss, taste and smell. Taste buds are not as sensitive. Salty, bitter, and sour flavors may be more affected. People compensate by more salt in their food. Women seem to retain of smell and taste longer than men.
Sexual changes. Many older people are sexually active through the frequency and intensity of sexual experience are generally lower than for younger adults. The most important factor in maintaining sexual functioning is consistent sexual activity over the years. The mole climacteric comes later than the menopause and requires more time. There is decline in sexual patency during the 60s which continues in advance. There is not necessarily a decline in sexual desire or inability to have intercourse. Sa katandaan, ang orgasm ay maaaring hindi gaanong matindi kaysa sa kabataan, na isang inaasahan pagbabago sa physiological, asexual at orgasmic dysfunction ay maaaring madalas na nauugnay sa malalang sakit kaysa sa pagtanda ng nag-iisa. Kung kaya't ang mga individual na may malalang sakit ay nakikita ang higit na pagkasila sa sexual at orgasmic na kalidad sa anumang edad.
Health problems. Arthritis, it is an inflammation of the joints accompanied by pain, stiffness, and movement problems. This disorder can affect hips, knees, ankles, fingers, and vertebrae. There is no known cure for arthritis. Mostly ito yung nararanasan ng mga matatanda. Ito yung pamamaga ng kanilang kasukasuan. At saka ito yung accompanied by pain, stiffness, at saka sa movement problems nila. Next is osteoporosis. It involves an extensive loss of bone tissue. It is the main reason why older adults walk with a marked stoop. Women are especially predisposed to osteoporosis and is the leading cause of broken bones in women. Ito yung kumbaga osteoporosis, ito yung pagiging kuba ng isang babae dahil sa deficiencies ng calcium, vitamin D, estrogen at saka hindi gaanong pag-exercise. Then accidents are the 6th leading cause of death among older adults. Injuries resulting from a fall at home or vehicular accidents with the older adult driving or an older pedestrian hit by a car. Ito yung aksidente, kumbaga hindi inaasahan na mangyari. Ito yung mostly na babalitaan natin ng mga nadidisgrasya sa daan, nababangga ng mga sasakyan, nahuhulog sa matataas na lugar, ganun. Then next naman is mental and behavioral problems. Number 1 is depression. It is a mood disorder in which the individual is deeply unhappy, demoralized, and bored. The person does not feel well, loses stamina easily, has a poor appetite, and is listless and unmotivated. Kumbaga ito yung mga nararanasan ng isang taong maraming problema, yung hindi nila kayang i-share sa iba yung problema nila, yung sinasarili baga nila. Then ito yung ang ano din ito is hindi sila parang they are not feeling well, tapos nalulos nila yung stamina nila, then poor appetite, then parang hindi sila motivated na ganito na mabuhay, ganun, na malalagpasan nila yung problema nila. Then next is dementia. It is a loss of brain function that occurs with certain diseases. It affects memory, thinking, language, judgment, and behavioral. Individuals with dementia often lose the ability to care for themselves and can lose the ability to recognize familiar surroundings and people. Ito yung kumbaga sa Tagalog pagiging ulyanin. Ito yung nakakalimutan nila yung mga familiar na bagay na parang nasa surroundings nila, ganun. Tsaka parang ito yung naaapektuhan yung kanilang memorya, yung pag-iisip, ganun, sa pagsasalita nila, sa judgment. Then next is Alzheimer's disease, a progressive irreversible brain disorder characterized by a gradual deterioration of memory, reasoning, language, and eventually loss of control of body function and leading to death. Ito yung parang pagiging makakalimutin sa lahat ng bagay. Kumbaga kahit yung mga anak nila, yung mga mahal nila sa buhay, hindi na nila naaalala dahil sa Alzheimer's disease. Example nito yung pelikulang yung The Greatest Love of All. Kung kung saan yung nanay nila is nakalimutan na silang lahat. Hindi niya naaalala na anak niya yung mga nasa harapan niya, hindi niya mapigilan yung pag-ihi niya. Kumbaga wala siyang control sa mga nagagawa niya. Ganun. Then Parkinson's disease, progressive, irreversible degenerative neurological disorder characterized by tremor, stiffness, slowed movements, and unstable posture. Ayon sa sa research na ito yung Parkinson's disease, ito yung nakakaapekto sa nervous system na kumbaga dahil sa dahilan ng low dopamine sa ating utak, kaya nagkakaroon ng isang tao ng Parkinson's disease.
Cognitive changes. The study of cognitive changes in the older population is complex. Response needs, neural and motor have been reported to decline. Some researchers believe that age-related decrease in working memory is the crucial factor underlying poorer performance by the elderly cognitive task. Dito sa stage na to, dito bumababa or pumupurol ang ating memory.
Niyo ba na meron daw tayong two types of intelligence? Ang tinatawag na fluid intelligence at crystallized intelligence. Fluid intelligence ay yung ability to reason quickly and independently of your past experiences. Ito ay usually determined by heredity or sa genes natin. Ang crystallized intelligence naman ay yung ability natin na ilagay sa actual or something like applying the knowledge that we've got already or na-store sa ating long-term memory. Ito ay depende or dumedepende sa ating experiences. And yun na nga, usually, sa experiences, nagkakaroon tayo or nagaganap lang naman ng experiences sa environment. So, malaking, kumbaga, isang malaking essential yung play na ginagawa ng environment para magkaroon or ma-generate itong crystallized intelligence. Ngayon, sabi nila, itong dalawang intelligence kailangan kumbaga collaborate para ma-solve yung isang problem or isang puzzle. Ngayon, yung fluid intelligence, yung peak nito ay nasa early 20s at bumababa ito sa after early 20s. Kaya siguro pumupurol na yung isip or yung memory ng isang mga matatanda compared nung bata pa sila. Also, sumusunod rin dito yung crystallized intelligence na slowly declining also habang tumatanda. Ngayon, yung psychologist na nag-term dito ay si Raymond Cattell noong 1963. Ngayon, yung fluid intelligence ay na-involve kasi yung comprehension nito natin and reasoning pati yung problem-solving skills. While yung crystallized intelligence ay sa recalling ng stored knowledge or past experiences. Ngayon, kung mapapansin nyo, yung mga matatanda ay nakakalimutan na nila yung iba mostly, and yung iba somehow meron pa naman natitira, pero mostly sa kanila ay nakakalimutan na nila yung mga ibang memories. At dahil na rin siguro yun sa pag-decline ng crystallized intelligence and also fluid intelligence. And sa fluid intelligence ay inaalaw tayo na to learn faster. Ngayon, kaya siguro nagkakaroon na minsan ng kumbaga conflict in learning something like new. Parang kunwari yung mga matatanda ngayon sa new media age, di ba marami tayong gadgets, mobile phones. Yung iba, nahirapan sila mag-interact ngayon sa mga young ones kasi hindi na ganun kumbaga yung memory nila. Hindi naman siguro lahat, pero yung merong mga talagang mga tao or matatanda na nahihirapan na sila mag-cope up dun sa ngayong trends dahil siguro sa ina-affect na rin siguro yung mga memory nila. Kumbaga nalilimitahan yung kanilang memory capacity sa paano yung process ng paggamit ng ganitong bagay.
Social-emotional development in late adulthood is based on social activity and a person's personal attitude towards aging. Older people may experience feelings of depression and isolation, as well as guilt and shame due to increasing dependency. They often have fewer social connections, but the quality also increases. The determining factors are social support and a positive attitude. Increased activity and involvement can increase satisfaction, while feelings of regret decrease it. Thus, socio-emotional development in late adulthood implies psychological and social transformation. So there are some theories in socio-emotional development, and one of that is the theory of Erik Erikson, which is the psychosocial development. And in that theory, there is the integrity versus despair, is the eighth and final stage of Erik Erikson's stage theory of psychosocial development. So this stage begins at approximately age 65 and ends at death. At the integrity versus despair stage, the key conflict centers on questioning whether or not the individual has led a meaningful life or a meaningful, satisfying life. So the psychosocial conflict is the integrity versus despair, and the major question in each stage is, did I live a meaningful life? And the basic virtue is wisdom, and the important events on this stage is reflecting back on life. And integrity refers to a person's ability to look back on their life with a sense of accomplishment and fulfillment. Characteristics of integrity include acceptance, a sense of wholeness, a lack of regret, feeling at peace, a sense of success, feelings of wisdom and acceptance. Despair refers to looking back on life with feelings of regret, shame, or disappointment as well. And characteristics of despair includes the bitterness, regret, ruminating over mistakes, feeling that life was wasted, feeling unproductive, depression, hopelessness. And the integrity versus despair stage begins as the aging adult begins to tackle the problem of his or her mortality. The onset of this stage is often triggered by life events such as retirement, the loss of a spouse, the loss of friends and acquaintances as well, facing a terminal illness, and other changes of major wellness in life. So the summary of Integrity versus Despair by Erik Erikson, the eighth stage is during the integrity versus despair stage, people reflect back on the life they have lived and come away with either a sense of fulfillment from a life well lived or a sense of regret and despair over a life misspent. Thank you.
Now let's move on to the three theory of a successful aging, and let's start with the first formal theory called the disengagement theory, proposed by Cumming and Henry in 1961. This theory suggests that successful aging is characterized by mutual withdrawal between the older person and the society. This results in decreasing interaction between an aging person and the others in his or her social system. And late adulthood involves gradual withdrawal from world on physical, psychological, and social level. It says here that the withdrawal is gradual, meaning it just says na mag-i-start yung changes, yung the major turning point, the major transitions sa life ng elder person. On a physical level, elderly people have lower energy level and they tend to slow down progressively. Psychologically, they begin to withdraw from others, showing less interest in the world around them, and they would spend more time looking inward toward themselves and reflect in their past life. On a social level, they engage in less interaction with others in terms of both day-to-day, face-to-face encounters and participation in society as a whole. There is a major transitions and changes na ito na mangyayari gradually in an adult's life. We will notice the decrease in their involvement in many activities in day-to-day life. Consequently, as a result, society would free the elders from employment and other responsibilities like their family responsibilities. Because according to this theory, the society would more likely to expect less from them since they already reached that stage in their life where they are weak. They become weak. They slow down progressively. They no longer have that strength to do the maximum capacity of work that they were able to do nung mas bata pa sila at mas malakas pa sila. The result actually is viewed as beneficial for both sides, for the society and for the elder person, because the elders are granted a life of tranquility, peacefulness. They are granted a life of peacefulness, and once they disengage sa society, their deaths are less disruptive, meaning it would make not much of a big deal. But do you accept this theory? Because there is a theory that opposes this one, which is called the activity theory. Activity theory, on the other hand, is another theory of a successful aging that suggests that in order to age successfully, a person must remain active as possible. Research on the engagement hypothesis argues that involvement in challenging activities and social roles promotes retention of cognition abilities and may have positive effects on health and social adjustments for the late adults. Activity theory suggests that elder adults would be happiest and satisfied from high level of involvement. The activity that we're talking about here is actually in the nature of quality rather than quantity, because aging person, especially elders, would no longer have that capability to perform that great amount of activity. It is limited, but it has to be a qualitative type of activity. According to the perspective of activity theory, a maintenance of optimal physical, mental, and social activity ng elders ay necessary for successful aging, because this theory assumes that older adults have the same needs as middle-aged person. Now, moving on to the last theory, which is the continuity theory. This theory of aging emphasizes people's need to maintain a connection between past and present. Continuity theory then offers a reason to keep older adults out of institutions and in the community, and as well as to help them live as independently as possible. In fact, this theory is a compromise between disengagement and activity theory. It claims that people need to maintain their desired level of activity and involvement sa society para para ma-maximize yung kanilang well-being. Behavior prior to late adulthood is also associated with whether one is active or disengaged, and if one is happy with one's status. For example, highly active and social people will be happiest if they largely remain so. And on the other hand, yung mga retiring individuals who enjoy solitude and solitary interest will be happiest and satisfied if they are free to pursue that level of sociability. This means, at this theory, old age can still influence their happiness and satisfaction. Those who view late adulthood in terms of positive are more likely to perceive themselves in a more positive light. Overall, this theory promotes good physical and mental health as important in determining overall sense of the adult's well-being, because adults still engage in the same sort of behavior they always have, such that of men in late adulthood could still engage in work, leisure activities, role of father as well as a husband, and for women of late adulthood can still engage in roles of mother as well as wife. They can still work, volunteer, and involve themselves in leisure activities.
Work, retirement, and leisure. Some older people continue to work for pay, but most are retired. However, many retired people start new careers or do part-time paid or volunteer work, pursuing other leisure interests or not retiring at all. So the biggest factor in the decision are usually health and financial consideration. So during the first few years after retirement, people may have a special need for emotional support to make them feel they are still valued and to cope with change in their lives. And social economic status may affect the way retired people use their time. So, as a lifestyle ng tao ay nagkakaroon tayo ng trabaho, pagkatapos noon ay nagre-retire tayo, and after noon ay ang pag-achieve natin ng some careers or interest natin in life. And meron din namang tao na hindi na sila nagre-retire, and the biggest factor na ng desisyon ay usually is our health and financial consideration. At hindi rin natin maiwasan na kapag nagre-retired na ang isang tao ay nagkakaroon pa rin sila ng special needs, and ngunit ang social economic status naman may affect the way retired people and their time. So dun na papasok na magkakaroon tayo during our retirement, nagkakaroon tayo ng more time for our family, nag-focus tayo dun sa mga career or mga interesting pa na gagawin natin in our lives.
Okay, so we were going to tackle personal relationship in late life. Most older people's lives are enriched by the presence of longtime friends and family members. Relationships are very important to older people, even though frequency of social contacts declines in old age. So, mapapansin nyo kapag reunion ng isang family, yung mga lolo at saka lolo ay they tend to play with their mga apo. Kasi parang doon nila na-feel yung kapag sabayan sila sa mga apo nila, mga anak nila, doon nila na-feel na mahalaga pa rin sila despite of their age, na kahit na ganun yung mga, kasi hindi na maiwasan yung mga ibang tao na inaabandon na yung mga magulang kasi nga matanda na hindi na nila kayang katuwa nila. So kapag once na yung mga lolo at saka lola ay nakikipag halubilo or may mga okasyon na may kumakausap sa kanila, kahit hindi nila family members, like doon nila na-feel na okay, mahalaga pa ako kasi despite of my age, may mga nakikilala pa rin sa akin, especially their friends na kaedan nila. So kapag nagbabanding sila, parang dun mo parang na-obserbahan na masaya sila kasi nga they relate to each other. Yung mga long time friends na yun lang nakita, mga ganun. According to socio-emotional selective theory, older people prefer to spend time with people who enhance their emotional well-being. So sa mga older people, they really need the assistance na lalo na kapag nagbe-benefit yung kanilang emotional well-being kasi syempre we need also to protect their mental health kasi kahit gaano pa kalakas ang kanilang pangangatawan, kung yung mental health naman nila ay unti-unti nang parang nanghihina, yung mga ganun, yung mga overthink nila, yung mga kung ano-ano yung mga inisip nila, siyempre hihina ang kanilang katawan kasi nga yun yung sinasabi ng utak na hindi na sila mahalaga. So yung parang katawan nila is parang wala na rin, yung parang slowly din na gumigive up yung mga pangatawan nila kasi nga yung mind kasi minsan is tricky So dapat kung kapag yung mga lolo't and lolo nyo pagpapasyal kayo and yung parang nahalata nyo na malungkot sila, ganito ganyan, we need to kausapin man lang sila or magkwento ng alam mo ba sa school ganito ganyan, yung mga ganong bagay para lang hindi ang kanilang emotional well-being, hindi sila mag-isip ng kung ano-ano na they are unworthy kasi nga matanda na sila. Mostly kasi ganun yung mga inisip ng mga matatanda, yung kapag hindi na sila gano'n kinakausap, sabi nila, hindi kasi alam mo na matanda na ako, wala nang gaanong may gusto sa akin, magkipag-banding, mga ganun. So guys, if you have grandpa or grandma, make sure na they will still belong sa inyong family kasi nga their love is so tawag ito, yung alam mo yung pagmamahal nila is parang ibang-iba kasi nga sa mga generation nila kumbaga ganun. So kapag nandun na yung point na parang gusto nyong magkapag-banding sa mga lolo nyo, sige lang. Kasi minsan din kailangan din natin ng love ng isang grandma and grandpa. Social support and social interaction is associated with good health and prolonged life, while isolation is a risk factor to mortality. So nga, social support and social interaction. Sa mga matatanda kasi, syempre matanda na sila, so i-expect mo na may mga isolation na mangyayari sa kanila. So instead of isolating themselves, pansin mo na gano'n yung mga nangyayari, try to communicate, talk to them, entertain them, mga ganun. So kung mga konting conversation lang, mga ganyan, para lang ma-feel nila. Yun nga, para ma-feel lang nila na meron pa silang purpose dito sa buhay, kumbaga. So next is we will going to explain and discuss about long-term marriage. As life expectancy increase, so does the potential longevity of marriage. More men than women are married in late life because men are more likely to remarry after divorce or widowhood. Marriage that lasts into late adulthood tend to be relatively satisfying. Divorce is relatively uncommon among older people, and most older adults who have been divorced are remarried. So speaking of marriage, dito mo talaga matatagil yung iba't ibang conflicts sa buhay, especially sa mag-asawa. Yun yung, kumbaga, yun yung pinaka main obstacle ng marriage. Kasi nga, nandito na yung mga iba't ibang ideas, knowledge, opinions of others na maaaring maapektuhan yung married life mo. So, kapag ka nagkaroon ng mga conflict sa inyong mag-asawa, hindi kasi lahat ng like counseling about marriage is affordable ng lahat. So if you would like to save your marriage, advisable na magpa-consult ka, ano bang pwedeng gawin kasi ganito yung marriage namin, ganito na yung mga nangyayari, mga conflict namin na hindi namin naayos. And ang sabi dito kasi is marriage that lasts into late adulthood tend to be relatively satisfying. So ito yung mga married couple na nagkanasal sila pa rin hanggang pagtanda, yung mga ganun. So siguro may mga conflicts sila na parang papunta na rin sila sa divorce or annulment, pero they still try to fix things kasi nga meron yung buo nila na true ups and downs na magkasama pa rin sila, mga ganun. So I think it's always about the mentality, the mindset, the way how you and your partners think to fix a certain problem. Divorce is relatively uncommon among older people, and most older adults who have been divorced are remarried. So actually sa ibang bansa, madami din yung kapag hindi na kaya ng mental health nila, yung sitwasyon ng kanilang buhay mag-asawa, is doon na dadating yung mga divorce, mga ganyan. Especially kasi mga physical abuse, violence sa women. Yung, doon na yung papasok yung mga patira na maghiwalay na tayo kasi hindi mo kaya ang kontrolin yung anger mo, mga ganyan. And yung also the cheating, mga cheating issues, mga ganyan. So advisable din naman na if hindi na talaga carry ng mental health mo, ng katawan mo mismo, especially kapag may mga anak ka, then ayaw mo silang lumagi sa mga ganong surroundings, sa ganong environment, you can leave that person or your partner if the marriage is no longer healthy to you and to your children. So kapag mga ganong situation na, advisable din naman talaga na pwede mo na siyang iwan kung hindi mo na talaga kaya gan. Pero before leaving your partner or mag-decide ka na mag-divorce na talaga, think carefully. Okay, kasi meron yung mga divorce na mamaya doon niya na ma-realize na, ay, sana pala hindi ako nagkipag-hiwalay. Sana pala tinry ko munang ayusin yung mga bagay-bagay na hindi namin pagkakaintindihan, yung mga ganong thought ba. And yun nga sinasabi ko na before leaving someone, kasi lalo na kapag sa marriage, think carefully. Try to fix the misunderstandings, mga ganun. Just try your best na i-fix yung isang bagay na hindi nyo pagkakaintindihan, o kapag yung mga conflict nyo na malaki talaga, still try to fix that certain problem. And kung hindi mo na, kung hindi talaga kaya, pwede ka nang mag-file ng divorce, mga ganun. Especially yung mga abusers, advisable talaga na kapag violence na yung mga ganun, yung may mga pasa na sa mga katawan or hindi na tama yung treatment, pwede mo na siyang iwan, or pwede ka rin tawag din sa mga, pwede mo siyang ikaso, yung mga ganun, lalo na kapag pati yung anak mo is nadadamay. So sa long-term marriage is kailangan mo talaga ng mahabang pasensya, kasi ang buhay mag-asawa is hindi gaya ng sa mga high school sweetheart, ang mga boyfriend, girlfriend, hindi siya ganun. Dito mo matatagil yung mga iba't ibang conflict sa buhay. Kasi nasa realidad ka na Parang ikaw na mismo magiging independent ka ng sobra kasi may anak ka, may asawa ka. So hindi na yung sarili mo yung iisipin mo, hindi na puro yung mga gusto mo ganun. So pero meron pa rin naman yung mga married couple na hanggang ngayon is matibay pa rin sila. Yes, so that's it. Thank you.
So at this last slide of this PowerPoint, it says here that at the end of life, human beings are individuals. They undergo different experiences and react to them in different ways. Yet one unavoidable part of everyone's life is its end. Death is an integral element of the lifespan. And we don't actually die or experience being dead. We only na-experience natin yung the process of dying. Because, syempre, walang consciousness na dun nag-end yung consciousness natin. So, hindi natin mararamdaman kung patay na tayo. Also, good thing ng death is it is the catalyst to work sa mga goals natin. Kumbaga, ito yung nagbibigay ng spark para ma-achieve ang goals natin, ma-motivate tayo. Siyempre, parang sabihin natin, life is short. Dapat experience natin ganito, parang ganun. So, sa worrying, may part ng worrying sa life natin. So, ang ano ko dun is, why do we need to worry? Because for me, worrying only makes our misery worse. Dinodoble lang dito yung suffering natin sa mga problema natin. And it prevents us from changing and developing. Ngayon, worrying takes up too much time in this short life. Napaka short ng life natin. So, hindi ko naman sinasabi na invalidate natin feelings natin. We process them, it's normal. But to stay with it, to linger with it, yung parang hindi na mag-move on is doon tayo magkakaproblema because we hinder the opportunities na pupunta sana sa atin sa time na yun para mag-grow. Pero hindi dahil nakaano nga tayo dun sa emotion na yun. And last is, hindi naman talaga nakakatakot mamatay. But it is terrifying to act like one. So we hope that our report enlightens you somehow in some aspects and inspires you to pursue new interests. Have a good day. Thank you.